Good day, everyone. Thank you very much for attending this presentation. My name is Alain Leduc. I'm actually working with Glob-All Distribution. Today we're going to present to you Yeastar IP-PBX and SIP gateway platform. Yeastar actually manufactures fantastic products, so we're definitely presenting you today. Hopefully you'll definitely like it. I'm sure about it. Here actually are what the Yeastar product can basically do for you. On a nutshell, first of all, Yeastar has been established actually in 2006 to give you a little bit of an idea in case you do not know them that well. And they are in today's world into more than 100 countries where we basically taking care of their distribution back in Canada. Right now they have about 1,100 distributor and resellers altogether representing them across the world. So it is a fantastic job that they did since 2006, I must say. And if we think about this, 98 people or about 100 people actually are taking care of the R&D on the back of these units. So massive intelligence behind all this. Let's do a little bit actually of an overview of the portfolio of what we're going to do today, discuss today. I want to bring to your attention actually the IP-PBX platforms. There's several of them. Here are actually two of them that are mainly focused on the SMB market. What is an SMB market? I guess for this product would be like below 100 phones roughly, and the mid to enterprise level would be actually to the U series platform. So all these different platforms will cover 500 ports or less of extensions. If you need more, you just basically tweak them, attach another one to it, and you just double, triple, and so on and so forth. So it is a very, very unique product. The beauty of this system actually is it integrates with a lot of their own platform that obviously Yeastar created. So the hotel motel features, if you need them, by all means, we'll go through this a little bit later also in this presentation. Where the module for this, and also the different module for either actually call recording as an example, 24/7 mass recording at a fantastic cost, basically. All this is being managed through a cloud. Yes, you can manage any of these SIP gateways and or the IP-PBX by itself through the cloud, through a web page. That's all you need, and obviously an IP address, and you're good to go. Another module actually very quickly will be actually the billing system, because they have a full-blown billing system in case you need them for either accounting purpose, obviously, lawyers, hotel, motels, so obviously there's many reasons why you want some billing system for billing back your calls. The overall different gateways in a nutshell would be either some GSM gateways, ISDN for PRI, BRI, Z1, and so on and so forth, or analog gateway FXS or FXO, so station or office lines. Let's focus a little bit more on to the MyPBX unit by itself. A little bit of features. We wanted to highlight some of the features, not all of them, but just a little bit some of them, so that you have an idea of what it can do. Obviously, call transfer call back and forth from phone to phone, call forwarding your phones to your friends, either internally or actually into a cell phone. Do some call pickup, group pickup, station pickups. Call waiting, obviously, hearing a beep while the second call is calling back on your phone. Hold, obviously. Music on hold, caller ID. The beauty of caller ID is you can do a lot of things with this. So we can go through this a little bit later on, I guess, at that point. They also, obviously, system speed dial, depending 500 speed dial for systems or more, depending on the platforms. Do not disturb, which is a fantastic feature that everybody wants, everybody needs, which is like some sort of a core or the basic that we all want. BLF, DSS, BLF, yes, correct, for being able to view other extensions within your group or within your office. The famous light going red, if it's busy or not, things like this, or flashing, so of your partners, it will definitely be on your phone. The famous call detail record also is a basic feature for them. So the SMDR, if you're very telecom-oriented people, SMDR is built in, reports and all this to have an idea of who did what and what time, and how many calls you got, how many calls you made. So this is actually into the system as a core feature. A little bit more and features like call parking. You definitely want to use this because often you have SIP trunks, SIP lines, and or basically PRI environment. So if this is the case for you, you will basically have obviously some groups, some pool keys that we call the industry. So it will be groups of lines. You will not have line 1, line 2, line 3 appearance because they are like virtual path, virtual lines. So therefore, you do park. You receive a call, hold on, park it up, and then somebody will do another code to pick it up or press park button to pick it up. So that's how you would do things. Or obviously you can transfer calls, but that will be like the hold features where you say hold in line 2. Well, in SIP lines, it does not work like this. If you have analog lines, then yes, by all means, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is something you want to play with. By all means, that's not an issue. In terms of actually a fantastic feature, auto provisioning, you got to keep in mind that actually Yeastar do not make or manufacture phones. They actually decided to be the brain, the motor, and actually you take the motor and you choose your chassis basically. So the motor is the Yeastar IP-PBX that we've seen, and if you're looking at the chassis will be what type of endpoints or phones you'd like to attach to your system. So if you like, some brands, whether going in details, the blue color brand or the red color brand or God knows what on your phone, then they've actually decided to tie up with many manufacturers and do auto provisioning. So therefore, when you plug it in, automatically they're being recognized because of the MAC address basically into the phone. So the install is very faster. You can still do if your phones are not into the auto provisioning mode, no problem. As you know, you can basically just enter all the credentials of your phone, and the system will normally recognize it also and take it from there. Features, fantastic features, obviously like Skype Connect. There's pages actually in there to fully enter your Skype credentials. So you have, let's say, line number 10 on your phone system will be your Skype line. So this is not being used by lots of manufacturers, so it gives them actually a massive edge, obviously, into this world where Skype is a very, very big player. Attached to that Skype, basically, as we all know, Microsoft Links. So there's actually a fantastic tie-up with Links. So if you need that, by all means, contact us, and we'll basically go a little bit deeper into the process of how we massage this. But actually, there are screens for this to be done. Very quickly, also into time. I forgot the time condition routing. The famous day mode, night mode, or lunch mode, things like this, so you can reroute calls based on the time of the day. So yes, features that we expect to have in a fantastic big PBX. Well, you have it also into the big and or small IP-PBX from Yeastar. Features like voicemail to email embedded into the box. Fantastic situation. Fax recognition. Perfect. The system also do fax to email. So there's a fax server into this. Think about this. So you'll have a DID on your SIP and or your PRI trunk. You will basically program it when it comes in to go into a specific extension. It will be actually a bogus and or a phantom extension that will be, take care of the take care of the fax, and therefore send it back to email to whatever email was pre-programmed. So you have a full-blown fax server in there. That's pretty good. Dial by name, obviously, into your tree, into your IVR situation. For please dial your extension. For Bob, line 1. I'm sorry, for Steve, press 1. For Natalie, press 2, and so on and so forth. These are features that you will have, obviously, into your overall system. They also provide massive hotel integration and hotel features. If you do not need a full integration, you can just basically go with the motel features that they have into their unit. And we'll go through this a little bit later on. In a simple way, in a nutshell, I guess, give you an idea of the units versus what's the size of these units. So the Soho actually is a fantastic for 32 up to 32 phones. The standard is 100 phones, and the U100 and all the way down equals to the number of extensions that you can grow with your unit. So this is very powerful. I don't emphasize enough on the CPU in there because each of these metal boxes. They all actually have a massive CPU to support blindly any of the combination that they decide to put into the unit. So there will be no lag. There's no, it's not a cheap motor, so to speak, if I may use that term. It is a fantastic turbo chipset in there. It's so obviously you have plenty of juice to do what you need to do, and you will never outgrow the size of the CPU. So they've still capped it to a minute to a maximum per user, obviously, for configuration purpose. So therefore, also into the SIP environment, you got to understand that if you're not too familiar with this, often there is actually limitation into the number of concurrent calls. In this segment, as an example, 30 out of 32 phones, 15 can be on the phone at the same time, which is actually plenty, and actually more than what we really need. But actually, just to show you that regardless of the scenario, they've put a massive motor inside to make sure that you have, as I said, no issue onto your communication path, basically. Again, very rapidly in terms of an image says it all. So obviously a picture is, I guess, a good scenario here. So you can print this screen, I guess, if you want to, and keep this in mind. But rapidly, you'll see the number of how many users per box that we just discussed, the concurrent calls, how many trunks, which is very important, how many lines can you put into the system, and also interesting features, paging, lots of SIP environment, IP-PBX have limitation on the paging groups or members per paging and things like this, but actually they've actually put lots of people in there, so you have plenty of room to do what you need to do normally. Into their, they also thought of people, well, unfortunately not everybody wants to go SIP, unfortunately, because that's easier, but otherwise if you still need to keep or you still want to keep your regular analog POTS lines as an example, and you have a few you want to snap onto your unit, by all means. So the units, if you open up a box, you'll see here the inside, you have the motherboard that's going all the way here, and there's actually connectors, and the connectors will accept these daughterboard or piggyback to the motherboard for use of different terms, I guess. So if you want, there's a 2-port FXS if you need, so which would be for people that are not too familiar with this. The FXS stands for Station Foreign Exchange Station or Foreign Exchange Office. So it is actually, it's an old telecom world. I'll leave this to the Wikipedia/Google people to show you what it means. But still, on the back end, what it really means is station and office, regular lines on your system. So if you still have from your provider a couple of lines you need to feed in, by all means, you snap in the cards, and automatically these connectors will act according to the card. Keep it simple. If you need a combo one, by all means, it's there. They also thought, depending on the countries and depending on the needs, also there's different cards. So BRI, as an example, so depending on the country you are in, BRI is still the way to go. In some country, it didn't go up to the way we wanted, I guess, or they wanted. So as where we are in Canada, this is not very much of an option, but still, it's available if you need it. The GSM portion definitely is a must. You got to look into this deeper, either actually on a single couple of ports or actually into more gateways that you might need. So that means on your line, let's say line number 10 would actually be, let's say, your cellular line. So when you press line 10, you're actually on your cellular portfolio with your SIM card, and bingo, you're out there. So it's very interesting sometimes because of either long distance or either, because of a backup situation, you want this to be your backup for your regular SIP or your regular analog lines. So there's a different reason why you want to use these piggyback card into your system without going full blown to the gateways by themselves. So as I mentioned, Yeastar actually have auto provisioning with some people. Here actually are some example. We're fully representing ISDN as an example in Canada, but you choose your brand from wherever you want. You basically hook it up to the network, and the system actually will recognize it automatically. So they do auto provisioning with these people, and actually a little bit more also depending on where you are. But these are more of the famous of where we are in our country to be the more more practical phones, I guess, that you will find a little bit on the market. There's more actually. We're adding other provisioning also to it, so more will definitely be done through us and with obviously Yeastar. So stay tuned for that portion. And also actually the service provider, obviously the regular service provider, but lots of VoIP people. So it is already certified with a lot of VoIP providers. So by all means. PSTN, obviously a regular line is a regular line, so that there's no need to be certified there and or to do tests. You hook it up and it works. So that's another beauty. So very versatile, very easy to use. If we go a little bit deeper into the gateways, the SIP gateways, start with the GSM ones, just to show you an idea. An image is 1,000 words that we say. So if you look at the number of antenna, that gives you the number of GSM SIM cards you can slide into this unit. So if you need 8 lines, well, you'll use actually the Gateway 8 port version, or if you need more, the 16 port gateway, Gateway GSM version. So, and slide in some antennas, obviously. So therefore, it is very flexible. You can choose whatever you need. If all you need on your existing IP-PBX is a one port, bingo, take it. So it goes from GSM to SIP. You hook it up to any of your existing IP-PBX SIP environment. If you're done, you program it, it works. It works also on some regular PBX environment with IP ports. So I'll leave this to the manufacturer to validate these each time, but still, so it is very easy to use. For those that are a little bit more tech oriented, here's a fantastic screen you want to look into deeper. If you're a sales, we'll move on, obviously, but for the tech portion, what's important, obviously, is the codec that we want to use, the frequency, obviously, of these, so it covers lots of territory with this, lots of countries, so we're good to go. And also in terms of into the different protocols, well, obviously the transmission, highly secured, so hey, we can't go wrong. If we look actually, again, focused on the analog, it is a big market still. Being asked, there's a demand for that. Either you need a 4-port analog station or an 8-port station. Again, station all the way to 32-port extensions, analog station. Mainly for these 3 on the back end, you would normally use this into either probably a motel, hotel environment. You would basically use retirement homes, fantastic. For your retirement home situation, if you have your own IP-PBX and or you want to use obviously the Yeastar IP-PBX to feed your 200, 300, 400 retirement home port, by all means, this is definitely the way to go. So otherwise, if you need a little bit less, these are fantastic. All basically does the same feature in a sense, and obviously if you're looking into the FXO side of things, so the office lines, the regular analog lines, well, they've come up actually with some 4-port gateways, 8-port gateways, and obviously 16-port gateways. Obviously, a 32 is not something that people normally would go, because at that stage, bigger than this, you would basically flip into massively PRIs, massively SIP, and things like this. But if you need like 32, just slap in 2 boxes, and you got 32 ports of analog CO onto your unit. So these actually, again, the compression, they have every compression that we can imagine, so which is perfect. The classic G729 for compression rate at 8K basically, or the 88K with super no latency, the G711, which is a non-compressed one as an example, and everything in between, with the different codecs that you want to use. It is being supported, so please take a look at this. It is the common ones are actually fantastic in there. The security portion also, you got to look into this if you're a little bit more tech oriented. If you need more than this, by all means, just contact us. We'll basically guide you through more onto the tech side of things, obviously. These gateway are actually certified, they're actually fantastic, and they're working blindly with these manufacturer as an example. Any asterisk environment blindly. 3CX, if you're a 3CX guy, hey, there you go. We have actually your module, your gateway for your deployment. The free PBX one as an example also. So there's a lot of they covered a lot of people with this. I mean, you've pretty much done what you need to do in terms of technology on the back end. So they're fully compatible. If you look again a little bit deeper into, again, the modules, or the gateway, I should say, the ISDN, very in demand, especially for a country. I'm not going to cover necessarily the BRI module today, because it's more for Europe and other countries, but still they are available. Otherwise, we focus on the PRI, so the ISDN technology. Again, if you're green, listening to this presentation, a little bit greener, I guess, on the telecom side, I'll leave the big web to give you what is ISDN and what is PRI. Beside the PRI is a 23 voice channel with a famous D channel for the data for the synchronization between your box and the central office. I'll keep it to this. The rest, actually, I think on Wikipedia, you have about 60 pages on ISDN. So that being said, massive processor, dual core. Think about this: on a single little box, they've put a real massive CPU in this. Normally, we have only very light-oriented stuff on lots of manufacturer, but no, Yeastar do not believe in this. They don't want to have an issue out there. They blindly want to support, any of their unit, but they want to make sure you don't obviously have any issue down the road. If you look a little bit deeper into another feature of them, they have different features. But let's look into the motel features. Obviously, of motels are being requested. There's a need for that, obviously, across the world. The beauty of their unit, actually, it supports either a small hotel or a mid-sized hotel or large, depending what you need. And they also support, because at large hotels, they will require PMS integration. Well, hey, they interface with more than 100 PMS out there in the world. So obviously, it is something that they can definitely do. So let's look a little bit deeper into this segment without going again too much in that. Sorry for my microphone. Without going too techy, because it's not the purpose of today's presentation. If you want to look on the tech side of things, give us a call, or look at some other YouTube that we're going to have on our corporate YouTube, obviously. But still, on the sales side of things, here are as an example. You have your own IP-PBX. You have your own switch. Let's put it this way. You need gateway, no problem. You just basically purchase the gateway, put an IP address into it. It will ping your system, and bingo, you're up and running. And obviously, you attach the regular analog phones that you have right there, or new ones, whatever. But your analog phones, and bingo, you're done. That's all. That's one scenario. The second scenario, you might say, well, I need to have a forklift. I've got an old system out there. Let's say an old Mitel, an old Nortel still. Yeah, there's plenty out there. Trust me. We all want to take them out, I would assume, and therefore you want to put your own PBX. So my PBX from Yeastar would be, definitely a way to go. So that platform with the add-on features, basically, it's a module we turn on into the system, and automatically you'll have hotel features. Plus, again, the gateway. So we're into that segment. Now we've added a PBX to it, or your own IP-PBX. We've kept, again, the same philosophy of the gateways, and we're keeping also the same philosophy for the analog phones on the back end. So again, so now you have your full-blown system with your own phone and your own gateway. You need to go a step further because you need PMS integration. No problem. You keep the same scenario, basically, and this time you're going to throw in the PMS API from Yeastar on the back end. So this will be, for those who are greener, I guess, just for 10 seconds or so, property management solution. So this actually is the software handling the incoming guest, check in, check out, room block, things like this, reservation. So that's what it means. But it's also the heart for the pay stuff. It's also the heart for the bar, the restaurant environment, things like this they all need to tie up. So that's the main server of the hotels. So obviously, we connect through more than 100 PMS of these manufacturer, but obviously, Yeastar is Yeastar language, so we need a translator. So that's what it means for the API. All right, so it will be a a Yeastar language going through, let's say, a micros environment. Fidelio as an example, to name just one, but there's hundreds of them. So that's what it's for. So in a picture mode, basically, your own PBX, your gateway, and you're good to go with your analog phones. Scenario number one. So these gateway, as we mentioned, normally it would be the 16 to 32 ports. This is normally where you want to go, especially for the price. Makes no sense to look at something else. So these will definitely fit blindly into your motel, into your hotel environment. And the beauty of this, actually, often we're being asked, what's happening? Will my message waiting lamp phone in the old hotel that we're slapping this to, will it work? Yes, you look at this. It supports actually the different technology because of different phones in the market. So these are a few phones manufactured. We also have Astra, Astra phones, Telematrix, a little bit more North American oriented. So these are fully supported. I mean, it's a no-brainer. If you have something more different than these technology on the back end, geez, you bought it somewhere on the moon, I would assume. So no, it is fully covered, so I'm not stressed with this. The hotline portion, obviously, which is core regular features, but if, often we see that feature into the hotel environment where you would go off hook on a phone, let's say on the lobby phone, and automatically will dial the front desk. So the hotline, emergency phone, taxi phones, things like this. So you do not need to buy a dialer for this, a third-party dialer, analog dialer, whatever. So these features are already embedded into the switch. So you save, again, money there. Do not disturb, obviously, for the room portion, wake up call, things like this. So all this is being supported into the gateways. SMDR for call, for hotel billing purpose, another feature, obviously. So the SMDR is something that we discussed earlier in the telecom world, where the station message detail recording or reporting, some people use the two terms, so recording or reporting. The real world word is report. So therefore you can have reports of who called what's room number 1011 called basically, these places in Europe. All right, what's the billing rate? Let's charge it back to the room, obviously, so when he checks out, it's on his bill. So this process is being done through also the platform. A couple of manufacturers, there's lots of them actually that are being fully supported for the integration there with the Yeastar platform. So if you have a hotel motel environment that you definitely want to look into it deeper, please. We have fantastic SIP phones at excellent cost, especially for the room. So yes, it is affordable now to put some SIP phone into rooms with no problem. So my PBX scenario number 2 would be the my PBX blind, as we mentioned, with the gateway by itself. So now you have a full-blown hotel motel system. You can even do with their software, and we'll see that in a sec, but with the software you can also do wake up call and do some things directly out of a PC. So it will act as actually it is a small PMS software. So there we go. Here's an example of that. So this is the billing out of the official software. This is the billing report. You want to see what's happening into the rooms, who made what, who made any calls, and what's happening. So within the billing, you can see also the check-in and check-out portion to see who came in at what time. And basically just for your own stats if you need that. But that's an example. That's one of the tabs basically within the software. It is a full-blown check-in, check-out software. If you want to room reservation, everything is in there for normally I'd say, obviously blindly for a small motel, small hotel, some inns, things like this. So it is meant for that environment. So it is plenty of features. There we go. Here are a couple of features. At that point, we don't see it clear. I should have put maybe an official print screen of the official software, but we blindly see it here. Actually, blindly is a big word. We see basically here some tabs. You choose if you want to do some check-in, some check-out stuff. You basically want to, reservation of rooms, see your room status, wake-up call features, call recording, reporting, basically things. So there's a lot of features there, and then you click and implement whatever you need to implement there, obviously. So it is meant for people that do not have PMS, real software, that definitely would like to have one at a low cost. So it is built in there. That's fantastic. If you, obviously, if you have a 500 room It might not be exactly the software to go at that stage normally, because you will have lots and lots of things to hook up. But if we look into your rooms, and there's even actually a minibar section that you can even throw into for rebuilding purpose. So it is quite complete at that point. I'd say if you're a motel within 200 rooms or less, and perhaps Yeastar could validate that, the exact core of their business for that. But into our market, I think that's where it will probably fit blindly into the system. So you have a 50 room, 80 room, 100 room. Hey, so you have it all. I mean, why invest more? So yes, these are a few features that we mentioned, or that we can highlight, I guess, at this point. The famous wake-up call is there. Room blocking is there, obviously, because you want to block rooms for long distance. Room-to-room blocking, because you don't want people to call each other into the rooms. Or perhaps, hey, you're into a group, you're a rock star group, and you'd like to have, actually, you're reserving the full floor, and you have 10 rooms, you want to make sure you call each other. Well, then it can basically, you can put them into a group, therefore you can talk to each other. So, things like this. So there's a lot of features you want to use into the hotel motel. Again, just the hotel motel feature presentation is probably about another hour, so I'll spare you the details for that portion right now, just very quickly. So if you look into that, scenario number 3 now, so we have the same IP-PBX. Obviously, we need this. We need the brain to talk to your existing PMS integration. So into your existing PMS platform, I should say. So the PMS API is, as I said, the translator, dictionary, or call it whatever you want. So translator from, the manufacturer language to your regular other PMS language. So that's what it does. It does it all, and it does fantastically. Again, all this through your, famous gateways. Hook up your phones, and biggle, you're done. Hey, if you don't want to go gateway, you just want to go, obviously, IP phones, sure, you can do that too. But, obviously in today's world, analog is still the way to go. I mean, we definitely see that in regular hotels. Analog is still very present into the world, basically. A few only, just very quick. I'll leave this to you to look into. A couple of people that are being blindly, that we blindly interface with on the PMS side of things. So if you need something, let us know, and we'll definitely look into that. Make sure that we're fully compatible. All right. As a partner, how does it work? Obviously, we, in terms of Glob-All and Yeastar, work hand in hand. We want to make sure that you're comfortable. We want to make sure that, your end user also fully, secured, and they're well taken care of. If you are an end user listening to this presentation, because yes, it is on YouTube. So therefore, you got to think that actually your integrator will be a certified, Yeastar integrator. We as a distributor on the back end make sure of that, and obviously Yeastar, looks at the overall, portfolio to make sure that on the umbrella, to make sure that they cover everything, and to make sure that down the chain, you as a customer, you're well served. So that's the way it goes. Yeastar actually is a fantastic manufacturer. I've worked on many manufacturers. They're one of the rare ones actually that massively wants, end user feeling. If you, as an end user knocks on their door, they will basically chat back with you and give you some info. It's rare that we see that. Blindly people will say, well, hey, call back, your local guy. But obviously if at one point in time, if there's a technicality and or pricing and all this, obviously they'll re-push it back to the channel. So, to talk back to your resellers and or us, and we'll go through this process, obviously. So if you're a reseller right now, this is actually the chain of command that we always call, I guess, at that point. But they're very respectful of that chain, so that no end user buys directly from Yeastar. They do not believe in this. They believe in distribution channel across the world, and they've implemented this very, very well, very tight. So you cannot go wrong as a reseller. You're fully protected. And obviously, any leads coming in, obviously, we can redistribute to your area for you to basically make sure that you talk to the end user and fulfill their massive needs in telecom, right, with Yeastar. So, I mean, this is, the support is one thing, the technical support is one thing, but also on the sales side of things, especially for trying to help your customers. So we Glob-All actually are very hand in hand. We're with all of our partners. The same with Yeastar. They're very tight with these channels. And what we want is make sure that you're comfortable selling and presenting the products to your end user customers, which is highly important. So we massively do webinars, we massively do web training and or web presentation, obviously, to your customers. If we can, if the distance makes sense, we'll definitely drive with you and see the customers. Yeastar actually, well, it's a little bit hard for them to drive, but still, they will massively help everybody down the road if they need to. They're very present into their channels. So if you need literature, things like this, knock on our doors and we'll definitely help you there to make sure that you have all the documents required and or massive sales training. Nothing fancy, doesn't take that long, but you need to know what you need to know. And also on the tech side, we'll fully help you there, get you on board and being certified there, which is not very complex at all. A little bit of marketing again, just to reassure the VAR side of things. Again, if you're Mr. User, well, you might see some of these, marketing from different people in Canada. Well, that's one of them, but a few ones have been gone out with Yeastar directly. So they do marketing just for the VAR. For you guys, resellers, it's important to know that the manufacturer do marketing on the back end. They want to make sure that the customer knows who they are, so that when you talk to them, they say, yes, we've seen Yeastar. Yes, we've seen a couple of publicity from them. You're right. There you go. So at least you're not alone in this segment. We do the same, obviously, for brand recognition, brand awareness, whether actually different languages. Obviously, in the Canadian market that we touch, it's actually either English or French, depending on which side you are. And that's an example of a little bit of Frenchy ones made in France, but actually we do some also in the Quebec side of things. That being said, so you're not alone. That's the main part. So at this point in time, I will stop the YouTube recording and we'll go from there. Thank you all. Thank you for attending, and let's